Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to part 2 for our Godot Action RPG series. In this video, we're going to be working on the movement for our player character. To be a lot smoother, we'll want to make it so that it's not tied specifically to our frame rate, and we'll want to improve on the friction, and it's kind of just choppy right now. So we're going to be cleaning that up, making it a lot smoother. Come into your player script right here, and the very first thing we're going to want to do is, and some of you noticed this in the previous video, is that we haven't applied delta. And if delta is a variable, and what it contains, what it has in it, is it has the time that the last frame took to process. This game, the physics process, will be about run every 1/60th of a second. And so delta is pretty much equal to 1 divided by 60, 1/60th. But if we have a computer that starts to lag and it's running a lot slower than normal, then delta will have a different value, right? Let's say you get some frame drops and you're running at 1/30th of a second. Well, then delta is going to be a slightly larger value, right? 1/30th is bigger than 1/60th. If you have a character moving across the screen and you have them moving like we have right here, 1 pixel every frame, but the screen is lagging, your game is lagging, it's going to take them longer to get all the way across the screen if the game is lagging. And we want to avoid that. And the way that we can do that here is just by multiplying our input vector by delta, right? Delta right here. Well, actually, what we're going to be doing ultimately is multiplying our velocity by delta. So if we multiply our velocity by delta, that means our velocity will be relative to our frame rate. And so if we have a slower frame rate, it will actually, remember how 1/30th is actually bigger than 1/60th? If we have a slower frame rate, our velocity will actually be faster, twice as fast in that case, right? If our frame rate is 1/60th of a second and we're multiplying our velocity by 1/60th, then that's going to be a much slower velocity than if it's 1/30th of a second. That will be a faster velocity, twice as fast, because the fraction is twice as large. Because of that, our character will be moving in actual real time. So it changes our velocity from pixels per frame to some amount per second. And so that's what we're going to do here. And we're going to create a variable up here. We'll just call this a constant for now, called max speed. And so a constant is a variable that doesn't change. It never changes in code. And we'll set this equal to, let's try 400, right? And then we multiply our velocity by delta and by our max speed. And the reason we have to multiply it by a max speed is because if we just multiply it by delta, then our velocity is going to be way slow, right? Like we're barely even moving on the screen right there. So we're going to multiply it by our max speed. Here we go. And when we run the game, now we're moving. 400 is clearly too fast, right? So let's set this to maybe 100 and see how this goes. Okay, that's a much better speed. Now we still move faster in the diagonals. I talked about that last time. And the reason is because if you have one, like let's print our input vector right here. Print input vector like this. We'll save, run the game. You can see our input vector is 0. If we move to the right, we get 1, -1, right? We're getting the proper input vector, but if we move up and to the right, we get -1 and 1 or +1 and 1. And as we all know, if you have a graph like this, and you have 1 in this direction and 1 in this direction, and then a point right here, this distance is going to be longer than this distance, right? Because it's Pythagorean theorem. So we've got A, B, C. And so A is going to be shorter than C because you've got both your rise and your run. and that gives us a longer variable here. However, with Godot and vectors in general, there's a special function called normalize. And that sounds really fancy, right? Like normalizing a vector sounds like all mysterious, especially if you're new to vectors. But all it does is it takes any vector. You could have a vector going off in any direction. And what it does is it clips that vector by a circle, right? And this circle, that is not a circle. This circle is a distance, has a radius of 1. It takes this vector right here, and it would make it this length right here, or this length right here, or this length right here on all three of those vectors. So if we've got our vector right here, and of course, now these arrows are off. Let's say this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, right? And so let's say you're 1 in the x and 1 in the y, and that gets you right here, right here. You know, this is 1 in the x, negative 1 in the y, right here. It would take that vector and clip it down to this point right here, and it would give us a distance of 1, effectively making it the same length as this over here or this right here. So that's called normalizing your vector, and that's what we're going to be doing here with our input vector. So right after we get the input vector, we can say input vector equals input vector dot normalized. If I can spell it. There we go. Input vector dot normalized. Now I'm pretty sure that this doesn't affect, like when you call normalized on a vector, it doesn't actually affect this one right here. It just returns the normalized version of this. That's why we have to set it equal to it here. So input vector equals the normalized version of our input vector. And that will set it to the proper one. We can check the docs for that. Normalized. Here we go. And vector 2 normalized right here. You can see returns a vector 2. So it does return the scaled to unit length. Unit length just means 1 right here. We've got our normalized vector. So now when we move in the angles, we will move at the same speed that we do for left and right. And that fixes that problem. Really cool. Currently, we're just setting our maximum speed directly, right? And in fact, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do max speed here. We would do it right here, max speed. And then we'd multiply delta down here to make sure that we're nice and smooth. So currently we're just setting our velocity to our max speed. Well, what if we want to have some sort of an acceleration, so our character doesn't just immediately start moving to the right? We get some form of acceleration. If we want to do that, let's create a const here called acceleration. Acceleration. Man, I'm really struggling here today. And let's say we want our acceleration to be 10, right? So our max speed is 100, our acceleration is 10. So then instead of just saying velocity is equal to input vector times max speed, what you do is velocity plus equals, that way we're adding every single frame. That's what an acceleration does, right? You increase that amount every single frame of the game. So it increases your velocity by a certain amount every frame instead of just setting it. So we're going to do input vector times acceleration. Like that. Now our character should have an acceleration, and you can see we do. We start out slow, we get faster and faster. Now there's currently no cap to this acceleration. I have no clue where the character went. I tried to get him back on screen, but it just did not happen. So there's no cap to this acceleration, so I'm gonna go far to the left and then accelerate to the right. You can see we can really start cruising, right? But another important thing here is that our acceleration, it's frame-based. We're adding 10 to our acceleration every frame. Once again, we've got the same problem that we had at the very start. So instead of having our acceleration time to the real world time, right, pixels per second or whatever, we're frame-based now. We don't want that. We also have to multiply our acceleration by delta, which then means that 10 is probably going to be a really slow acceleration. It's going to take us forever to get up to speed, right? because 1/60th of a second is a small number. We're going to make our acceleration 100 as well and see how that goes with our speed here. There we go. Still really slow, right? Let's try 200. Whoa, this feels like we're on ice. We're ice skating now instead of actually moving. So let's try a much larger amount. Let's print our velocity so we can see what it looks like. Print velocity right here. See how this looks. Takes us a while to get up to a maximum speed of like 400. Now that we have a velocity, and we'll mess around with that acceleration in a minute, we want to have some sort of friction amount. So let's create another constant here. Equals, we'll set this to 400. We might want our acceleration and friction to be different. We'll see. So how do we apply a friction here? Because currently we're just setting our velocity to 0 when we're not pressing anything, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. We want to apply a friction. Well, there's another useful function inside of vector 2. Let's click on vector 2 right here. And we have a special function called move toward. Now this function can be used to apply friction to something. And so we can give it a vector that we want to move towards. In this case, we want to move towards a vector of 0, 0, right? Which would be stopped. We want our velocity to move towards 0, 0, which is stopped. And we want it to move by some amount here, which would be our friction. So we would say velocity equals velocity dot move toward, and we want vector 2.0. So we want it to move towards 0, 0. And we need to give it our friction. However, just like our velocity, or just like our acceleration, I mean, our friction needs to be tied to real world time instead of to the game frame rate as well. And so we want to multiply this by delta as well. And save and run the game and see how this goes. And there you go. Whoa, we had some issues there. Holy cow, it sounded like something unplugged and plugged in again on my, it must have been my keyboard, because, yeah, that was some sort of a keyboard issue there. And now we have a friction in as well. So last, we want to cap our max speed, right? So we want to make sure that our velocity never goes faster than our maximum speed. So right after doing velocity plus equals this right here to add our acceleration, we want to say velocity equals velocity dot clamped, I guess. And you need to give it a length here. And we're just going to do max speed times delta. And that will clamp our velocity by some max speed. Now we don't have to multiply our velocity down here anymore by delta because we're doing it right here. And so those are the different places where you need to multiply delta, right? Whenever you have something that changes over time, if it's connected to your frame rate, you need to multiply it by delta. So our velocity changes over time, but our acceleration changes our velocity over time. So the velocity is our change in position over time, right? Because the velocity affects the position. Our acceleration is the change in velocity over time, because our acceleration affects the velocity. And our friction, just like our acceleration, is also the change in velocity over time. Those all need to be multiplied by delta. I can't tell if we're immediately hitting our max speed or not. It kind of feels like we are. Yeah, it looks like we're just immediately hitting our max speed here, and it's probably just because our acceleration is way too high. So let's set our max speed to 200 and our acceleration to 50 and see how this feels. Are we still printing it? I guess so, it just decided not to show us. And see, there we go. Now we've got an acceleration. You can see we've been printing our velocity here, that we start off moving slower and then we approach our maximum speed until we reach it. And deciding on your own, our friction is instant. Messing with these values a little bit will give your game a different feel. How slippery do you want the movement to be, right? How fast do you want your character to be able to move? This is a really fast character right now. But it does feel nice and smooth. Now, if you have any sort of jitter or like jumping a little bit, there's actually an article in the Godot documentation that I'm going to link to that has some different solutions for dealing with that. And sometimes it's just like on Windows, there's a known issue with some stutter when the game isn't in full screen. And that is a Windows issue, apparently, according to the article, not a Godot issue. But if you set your game to full screen, then it's no longer there. And I've done this testing myself. Mine actually has the issue when the game is in windowed mode. But once the game is set to full screen, it's smooth as butter and looks really nice. And most of the time, if you're going to be making a professional game, you're going to want your game to be played in full screen anyways. And that is, once again, a Windows issue. There is a workaround for it, but it involves, I guess, setting the priority to your game really high, and they don't recommend that. It's better to just have it run in full screen. I'll link to that article in the description because I think it's really helpful to understand, jitter and stutter, the differences and what some of the solutions are. So this movement looks really nice and smooth. I'm gonna set our max speed down. It's way too fast still. And maybe the movement actually felt pretty good, so we'll actually lower our friction and our acceleration again too. Now this looks pretty good. Once again, I'm getting a little bit of stutter because it's not in full screen, but it feels really smooth. So that's going to be it for this video. I actually wasn't even planning on making a video today, but I decided, you know what, let's get one done. Let's make it a shorter one. In the next video, we'll be talking about collisions. We'll be working with some collisions so we can get that implemented as well into the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, this series was made possible by my lovely Kickstarter backers for the 1-Bit Godot course. I'll put a link in this video where you can go check out that if you want to take a deep dive into Godot and get a broad understanding and have a community / educator, like teacher, behind you helping you learn along the way. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.